How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Meg. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. Our centre really tries to emphasise the early years learning framework principles of practice where partnerships are recognised. In other words, we know how important it is for your child's education for us to value each other's knowledge of the child, communicate freely and trust each other. We want you to be a part of the decision-making process for Oscar.
It's excellent that Oscar attends a centre that allows for families to contribute to curriculum.
We agree. Now, Beck, we have been undertaking assessments on some children recently, and with Oscar, we did a diagnostic test with an informal observation as well as an informal screening.
Yeah, I remember another educator asking me for permission to do so.
Great. So, the first thing we did was a diagnostic test, which are often used to identify a learning difficulty. However, don't be alarmed. In this instance, we used it to gain a better indication of Oscar's strengths and challenges, including what best engages him and what he doesn't tend to get involved with. So basically, we did a diagnostic test through informal observation, where many of our educators, over a number of weeks, watched Oscar to learn a bit more about him. Do not worry and think we are singling him out. We did the same for many other children. It's just that observing children and interacting with them helps us to learn a lot about them. We want to know exactly what Oscar's wants and needs are so that we can provide the best education that is most suitable.
Yeah, that sounds great. So what was involved with the observations?
Basically, we just watched Oscar interact with other children, observe what he played with and his habits. We gathered a lot of interesting information about Oscar. In particular, we think he is a bodily kinesthetic learner. This term was introduced in the context of learning by an old theorist, Howard Gardner, and means that he plays and learns best when participating in activities that are physical, involve movement and are more hands-on.
Oh yeah, he's definitely the energetic type.
Exactly, and for that reason, we need to make sure that Oscar is given opportunities to be learning in the best way. We also gathered Oscar's strengths and challenges. His strengths are definitely his determination and his will to not give up on anything. Also, his coordination is outstanding. He is great at kicking balls, throwing and catching, and his fine motor skills when using a fork and a pen are excellent for his age. He is also quite affectionate, which sometimes surprises people. As being such a boy's boy, it may seem unexpected, but he certainly has a soft spot. I'm sure you know all of this already.
Yeah, we definitely see that. I would say another strength of his is getting in a good routine. He does really well with knowing that at nighttime after dinner, it is time to have a bath, brush his teeth, have a bottle and go to bed.
That's great. We do have a daily routine here and we have noticed he's settled in well, so that must explain it.
Have you noticed that he doesn't speak much for his age?
Yeah, we have. How do you feel about this?
It does concern his father and I. His sister was much the same and now she talks fine. We may consider a speech pathologist soon though, if it does not improve.
That's understandable, but do know that we are 100% supportive of you and Oscar. We are also here to help him develop the skills that we know he is so close to developing. Us educators could come up with some ideas and implement them alongside the other tasks that we have planned specifically for him, if you like.
Honestly, Oscar's dad and I would appreciate anything. It would also give us a relief knowing that when we are dropping him off at the centre, that he's getting the learning and support that he needs.
That's what we're here for. I will get together with the other educators and we will come up with some ideas on how we can best scaffold his learning. So scaffolding, in the context of learning, is a term derived from the works of a theorist named Lev Vygotsky and refers to the support that educators offer children while they undertake activities.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so when we did the other form of assessment, the informal screening, we observed his strengths and challenges further with a checklist. It compares a standard against the abilities of each child. So have a look. This is the one that we did for Oscar.
Okay.
Now, it's actually a bit backwards to do these types of things in this day and age, but sometimes it is good for educators to be reminded of what the typical milestones are for children at certain ages. So when comparing against the scale, Oscar goes above the expected for his large motor skills and hygiene and self-help. But his challenges, as you mentioned, are his language skills. We don't doubt that he cannot do it. It's just that his form of communication so far is through hand motions and sounds rather than direct words. And this is fine. We have full faith in his capabilities.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. What were the other ideas that you mentioned you had for Oscar?
Oh, yeah. So we have found that there are a few other boys with similar interests to him. So we plan on taking the whole group for a trip down to the local police station to meet the policemen and women there, and so that they can all have a look at the cop cars. One of the children's dads is a truck driver, and we've organised him to bring down a small truck one day for the children to look at. We are also waiting on some new balls, some AFL football posts and some tricycles to come in for the children to play with outdoors. We know that Oscar will love these activities and will really benefit his language development through being socially interactive with children outdoors.
Oh, awesome. Great ideas. Yeah, they will definitely be suitable activities for Oscar.
I'm glad you think so too. We'll be in touch. If you have any more information or questions, do please let us know.
Of course.
Thank you for your time, and we really value your input. Hey Beck, thank you for staying for a chat again.
My pleasure. Hey, Oscar absolutely loved the trip to the police station. He was delighted that afternoon when his dad collected him, and he gets so excited whenever he sees a police car.
Oh yeah, he was in awe when he heard the police siren go off.
And I love seeing the pictures on the centre's Facebook page.
Yeah, we love using the Facebook page to connect with children's family on a daily basis.
So, what are the things you were thinking of doing to support Oscar with his language development?
So as a team, our main focus will be on ensuring that we constantly engage Oscar in intentional teaching tasks that are play-based, challenging, and that stimulate conversation, so to engage him in more frequent conversation. Intentional teaching just refers to us being deliberate and purposeful in our teachings rather than teaching by rote or the old school traditional ways of doing things. As we know that he is not all that interested in sitting and listening to someone read, these would be ineffective methods of learning for Oscar. As a result, we will just aim to prompt him in all the activities that he does. Back and forth exchanges is a concept that involves constant talking between two people, and this should stimulate Oscar's thinking and force him to have conversations. We will also try to have him use words when asking for things. For example, when motioning that he wants more food, we will encourage him to use proper language.
Yeah, these sound like great ideas and things that we can implement at home too.
Absolutely. We both want the same outcomes for Oscar, so we might as well implement simple things that will stimulate conversation in both a daycare and home environment.
Fantastic.
We shall keep touching base to see if these ideas are creating any progress.
Sounds like a plan. Hi, Meg.
Hey, Beck. How have you been?
Yeah, great, thank you.
I think we can both say that Oscar is making some improvements. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. Rather than motioning for things, he's now using words like more milk and please, mum. He's connecting words to make simple sentences. It's incredible.
Honestly, he has probably always had it in him. It's just that he didn't know how to properly pronounce words, so he didn't.
We've also probably gave him too much without him having to really ask for it.
That's okay. Sometimes it's just easier to do things without conversation, especially after a long day at work. Don't beat yourself up over it. Children develop at many different stages. It is just happening a tad later for Oscar, and that's okay. Sigmund Freud is a well-known theorist in the education sector, as he made it clear that experiences impact on child's development. And because every child experiences different things, they all develop at varying rates.
That does make sense.
Yeah, so it does seem that as we continue to encourage Oscar to use his words more often, he is becoming more confident and engaging more frequently in proper conversation. It's been great to see him expanding his vocabulary just by being exposed to more words.
It's been wonderful. We are loving watching his language develop each week.
As are we. The more we support and prompt Oscar with language, the more it exposes him to new words and new opportunities to talking and listening. Therefore, he will continue to do it until it is just another part of life. His temperament and learning style suggests that he will have no issue at all speaking in the future. Although I'm not technically a qualified person to give you this accurate feedback, I think we can make the general assumption that it is simply his language that is lacking slightly.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So did you have anything else that you wanted to suggest, even across the whole centre, not just Oscar? We value your ideas and suggestions.
Nothing else really. I think that persistence will be key.
Agreed. Well, thanks for popping in again, Beck. I think we have reached some really positive outcomes through just having respectful and honest collaborations.
Oh, absolutely. Oscar's dad and I appreciate the effort that you educators go to in terms of wanting what's best for Oscar and the other children.
I think you have made it such a breeze for us too. We don't often get parents who want to collaborate as extensively as you have with us, but we really strive to explore the learning potential of each child. And without recognising that parents are the first and foremost influential people of the child, it just wouldn't happen. Collaboration is key. The EYLF is our structure and we want to incorporate it as much as possible.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, feel free to come along to our Mother's Day barbecue next week. We would love to see you there.
Thanks, Meg. Count us in.